Hello and welcome to AFK Sidequest. I'm your host, Rob Thurston, and joining me today on this Bros and Profiteering, I have Matthew Penrose and Luke Chu. So Luke, what did you bring for us today?
Well, Rob, today I brought... No, wrong one. No, wrong one. Forks!
So Luke, what is Forks?
Well, Forks, it's all about embezzling. My favourite. So with Forks, you have a selection of companies on the table, and it's all about giving them power. So by doing that, you're adding numbers, which you play from your hand. So you've got numbers on them, so you've got 9 and 3s. So what you want to do is essentially strengthen the companies in front of you, so they correlate to the companies in your hand.
Oh, okay.
At the end of, let's say, a round, the companies with the strongest get added to your points. The company with the least amount gets deducted.
Right.
So it also depends on if you've got 3 or 4, depending on how many companies there are. In a game of 3 that we played, it was 3. The top 3 were additioned. The last 2 were minused from, obviously, the game.
Yeah.
So it's all about strengthening the field, also strengthening yourself, and making sure they correlate. With different versions, you can also have merger cards and swap cards. So you can swap cards in your hand. So there's a lot going on. There's also going to be in the future scenarios, but I think they're like stretch goals because this is a Kickstarter game at the moment.
Okay.
So it's not going to look anything like this.
This is just a placeholder.
It's just a placeholder. It's not going to look like this either, so don't worry about that.
Yeah, here was me. I was hoping to get some more cutlery in my life.
We always need it. So yeah, he wants like a magnetic lid. So it's going to look a little bit different than this. This is just currently what we have at the minute, what we played with. So in a standard round, you pick up 3 cards and choose to embezzle one. So you keep it for yourself, just put a little cheeky on the side, and then you pass the other 2 on.
Can I just keep both of them?
Yeah, you can't. Then they decide to invest it and then take an embezzlement of their own.
Okay.
A card needs to go into the field at a time so people don't get suspicious. And then you keep playing until the deck runs out. And then at the end of it, you decide which companies are the strongest, add them to your score, which ones are weakest, remove them from your score, and that's pretty much the game.
Okay.
Sounds simple.
Yeah, it sounds very, very simple. I'm not sure how it will be when it comes to trying it.
Sounds like a fork and good time.
Oh.
With that breakdown of the rules out of the way, we're about ready to go and give this game a try. We'll be right back to tell you what we thought. And we are back. Penrose, what did you think?
I enjoyed it. I'm shit at it, but I enjoyed it.
Well, that's a good sign.
Really easy, really simple to pick up on. The variant rules completely changed the game. So we tried each one. The base one's nice and simple. It's really nice and easy and simple to play.
Yeah, it's nice and quick, just because when I first saw it, I was like, oh, it's cards, and it didn't take too long, actually, because I thought it was going to take longer. When I first looked at it, I was like, it's going to take me a while to get into, because when it comes to learning new games, I'm very stupid.
Yeah.
But this one actually went pretty straightforward. Like, you saw the different ability cards, and I was like, oh, this is going to make things complicated. But it didn't. It just added more to the game. Yeah. So we played 3 games. We did a base one, then we did the merge variant and the swap variant, and we added all our scores together. So I think that's the first game we played. There are scenario cards as well, which you can go later on, which gives you minuses to your field, and it just kind of really changes things up. So there's a lot of variety in the play you can have.
It's nice to see a game that is simple at base, but has also had thought put into it as far as scaling it up goes. Yeah. I always like it when a developer considers that and actually gives you some decent rules to kind of up the complexity if you want to, and I always like seeing that. That's a good sign.
I loved the mechanics of it, because when you're playing it and when you are doing your turn, you need to think about not just what you want to do, because you have to hand the card to the person next to you. So it's like, right, okay, I want, let's say, needle and green to do really well. So I want the player next to me to only be able to do something with needle and green. So if I've drawn 2 needle and green, and I've got, say, Oxine as well, I could embezzle that one. It might be doing well, it might not. But then I know the person to my left has to then embezzle and also invest. Yeah. So therefore, if my hand's got loads of needle and green in it already, that company's going to do well.
Did you want to know my strategy? I worked out what you wanted, and I was like, well, you're obviously working towards that, so I'm just going to let you do that for me. And then I carried on with the other 2 I wanted.
Oh, fair enough.
So I used you as a pawn for my own game.
This is a big game for reading people, really, because you have to be able to figure out what they want to do just as much as you need to figure out what you're doing.
And also, if you put a high value card on the table, you don't give yourself enough points in your hand.
Yeah. So
but if you keep that high card in your hand and it doesn't win, it could basically trash you. So
that's the entire point. The more you embezzle, the less that's invested.
Yeah.
And I love the idea, like the actual text for it is like, and the 2 companies that are doing the worst are audited because they suspect them of too much embezzlement.
Yeah.
So therefore, that's why you get the negative points and stuff like that as well.
That's really, really cool. And that's a really smart way of thinking about it.
It's all the fun of embezzlement without the jail time. I want to say is I'm interested in picking up a card for myself, but later on down the line, if there's like someone who picks up a card really good, they could probably do like a run of a publisher. So if you're a publisher out there, get involved.
Obviously, other than budding investors and embezzlers out there, who would you recommend this game for? Who do you reckon this is kind of targeted at?
Age-wise, I think it can start off pretty early. I mean, it's just numbered cards. I mean, the maths at the very end of it, they're not massively difficult. If you take in the more advanced draw styles and what happens when you, like, the alternative rules, they might tweak things a little bit, but even those are really simple to pick up on, so it's nice and quick, maybe like 7+.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think, or maybe even younger than that, because you've got quite simple rules, literally just putting your hand or keeping it to yourself. It's just a simple card game.
Even then, you can scale up the complexity. You've got the scenarios, you've got the extra rules, you've got different ways of playing it, like as a base, and it's pretty simple to get hold of, really.
I'd say when you're playing with 18+, you can get lawyers involved.
Is there anything you would want to change about this game?
It does what it needs to, and it does it well.
Yeah.
That's the thing. And the variations on the rules are just, they're an added bonus. I can't imagine, once again, with quite a few of our games that we've looked at, even with something simple as this, you're never going to do it the same way twice.
Yeah.
And because I can't read people very well.
So what you're saying
I'm too self-centered.
You want people who are easier to read, or you want to be better at picking up social cues. That's the one thing you'd change here.
So I personally really enjoyed Fork, because I think it's very simple to get into. It's pretty much for anyone who wants to play a nice simple card game. You don't need to worry about embezzlement or investing. You don't need to know too much about that. It's just a card game.
Yeah.
Pacing is very good. The artwork I like as well, even if it gets like tailored again. I don't think it matters too much because it's about the gameplay at the end of the day, really.
Yeah, exactly.
Forking great.
We hope you've enjoyed this very tax-audited episode of AFK. If you have, then please make sure to like, share and subscribe. Click that notification bell. You can see more content from us in the very near future. I've been Embezzlement. Thank you for joining us. Goodbye.